Hi, my name is Georgie. I'm also known as Crafty Road Gamer, and welcome to my channel. So I've been thinking about doing something like this for a while, but I'm going to use my channel to document my two time-suck hobbies, which are crafting and gaming. Crafting is mainly cross-stitching, to be fair. So this is my first foray into FlossTube, and although I've been doing video calls for what feels like forever, for the most part of a year, I'm finding recording myself massively awkward, so please bear with me. So just a bit of an introduction, a bit more about me, why now, what to expect. So I just want to start off by saying, for a variety of reasons, I am not going to do one massive long video. These reasons are mainly pet related, and you can possibly hear my cat snoring in the background right now, so please just give me 2 seconds. Managed to stop the cat from snoring. Cat starts licking himself. Right, okay. I think I managed to stop the cat from snoring. I don't know how long we've got before he falls back to sleep, or pretends to fall to sleep and just snores with his eyes open, because he's an obnoxious little beast. Also, me stopping the cat from snoring has summoned the dog. So yeah, this is a crazy animal madhouse. This is the path that I've chosen. It's fine, but it doesn't lend itself to doing one big long segment of recording without getting interrupted. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that I want to keep my job. So in case anyone stumbles across this from work, especially HR, I've got to keep it pretty PG. So in real life, I'm a lot more sweary, probably the same level of sarcasm. But yeah, I need to put my filter on for doing this. So it might lead to some interesting switch outs and maybe some new creative words. But yeah, we'll see how I go. Who knows? So, why a FlossTube? I've been intermittently blogging for a while now. I've found a fantastic community of people on Instagram who are all massive enablers, but really great people. And I thought, well, to be fair, I didn't know FlossTube was a thing until I started on Instagram. So yeah, that's where I learned it was people made videos of stitching. It also seemed like a natural progression, and it might be easier to manage than my blog posts. And not to overshare in my first video, that a lot of big life events have happened in the past few years, and I hesitate to say YOLO. I don't like YOLO. But yeah, kind of YOLO. And also it's really important that I document my stitching and my life and everything I do. And there didn't really seem much point in documenting a journey and maybe recording videos and doing this kind of thing if it was just for me. So I thought, do you know what? Why not? I might get to connect with some more like-minded people, meet some more fantastic people. So yeah, let's do it. Documenting is really, really, really important to me because of my fibromyalgia and my CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm really lucky and very, very grateful that I've managed to get most of my pain and my symptoms somewhat under control, for the most part. And I can kind of live a normal life. It's not normal in any way, but you know what I mean. I am still affected in some ways. Not great ways when it comes to stitching and gaming, because the primary manifestation of my fibromyalgia is painful claw-like hands. Can be alright for like gaming grip, sort of controller grip, like T-Rex hands, but like that. But not too great for holding a needle and cross-stitching. I also have brain fog a lot, which isn't great for getting my words out and possibly recording FlossTube. So another reason why I can't do a massive run, because it'd just be a lot of me like I do a lot anyway to link sentences. I will try to stop doing this because it drives me absolutely bonkers when I'm doing training videos for work. Also, my long-term memory is absolutely shot. I know as you get older, your memories sort of start to fade away. However, I have pretty much no long-term memory whatsoever, which is pretty, you know, a bit upsetting, but it's just one of those things. And, it, you know, I understand that people can look at photos and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, I can, yeah, no, I can't. That's not me, unfortunately. So yeah, the more I can document and the more I can have to look back on, hopefully the more I'll be able to remember. And if it's not a photo of a place, if it's me talking and me doing, then yeah, hopefully that'll be a bit more satisfying than looking at a photo where I've got no idea, not a clue of what was actually going on. Also, a few months ago, I found out I had a condition called degenerative myopia. So I'm ridiculously short-sighted. In contact lens terms, I'm -12 in my right eye and -14 in my left eye. Just a bit of facts there. Amongst other things, degenerative myopia means that I probably will get black dots in the middle of, like black holes in the middle of my vision. Yeah, so my eyesight was already like crazy bad anyway. I can't see this far in front of my face, and now I can't see this far in front of my face, but there were massive holes in the middle of it as well. Hoping it only occurs in one eye. I could rock the pirate look quite good in an eye patch. I have found this out at Halloween before. But yeah, that sucks. Not dwelling on it, but I've got quite bad conditions when it comes to doing crafting, well, cross-stitching and gaming, in terms of actually being able to do those things. And this is going to be my journey of having fun with my hobbies before I potentially have to stop because my body is basically falling to bits. Some people have got it worse than me, please don't get me wrong. I know, like, in the grand scheme of every condition that I could potentially have, I've got it good. But yeah, but for me, hopefully things won't happen for a very, very long time. I'll be able to keep my fibro on an even keel, and my sort of black dot and pirate eye patch that might happen won't. But just in case, I'm going to document my journey, and then I've got it all to look back on in my very old age, maybe granny gaming. So why now? Like right now. So usually when I'm stitching, I watch TV, like really terrible, I'm not going to admit to what I watch, trashy TV, horror or crime. I also listen to podcasts. I love quite a lot by the Podcast Network, especially conspiracy theories and cults. Not massive conspiracy theories personally, but do you know what? I can buy into it. Lately though, I have been dipping into FlossTubes. So I've been ill for a few weeks and it's left my blog a bit unloved. I had a bit of a fibro flare-up, which, if you don't know what they are, is basically manifestation of a condition. It could be absolutely anything. It could be pain, it could be fatigue, it could be all kinds of random things, but you don't know when it's going to happen, how badly it's going to hit, or how long it's going to take to get over. It's fantastic. But I'm all right now, sort of. As good as I normally am, so that's good. Also, I'm waiting for my body to object potentially to my COVID vaccine, which I've had this morning. So I just thought, you know what? What's the point in not doing it anymore? You've got a bit of time. Let's just do it. Let's just record it. Just get on with it and go for it. Also, why right now is I mentioned doing this to my husband, who got ridiculously overexcited. Started calling himself a creative director, and right now he's putting, well, my stepdaughter, it's a wicked stepmother here, to bed. So I'm taking the path of least resistance and doing this while he's occupied and not around. The absolute main right now reason though, today, here, in this moment, is Darcy Cameron, aka StitchManDarcy, who is a FlossTuber. So Darcy Cameron, I am calling you out as being a absolute inspiration and the kick up the bum that I needed to do this. I binged some of your, well, all of your videos, and I saw parallels there, and the way you were speaking and the way you were really into it, you made me think and feel like, yeah, do you know what, come on, let's do this, just get on with it. You've been putting it off for long enough. So talking about parallels, I'm 38. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I sort of still am. No, that's a lie. I was a monogamous stitcher, and then I met the community of enablers on Instagram. It still makes me feel very uncomfortable not just having one project to work on and sort of spreading myself across a few, but I'm coming to terms with it slowly. I mainly only stitch for other people. I don't like boring socks. These are my Jurrasic World T-Rex socks from my collection of non-boring socks. I also love Heaven and Earth designs, although I do have to confess I haven't actually started one yet. I do, though, have a fantastic pattern collection, which I'm assured by the community of enablers on Instagram, pattern collecting in itself is actually a hobby, just as much as actually doing the cross-stitching. So I'm very good at that hobby. I would also have to raid my mum's house for my backstitching catalogue. Backstitching, see how I did that? Everything is stashed at hers somewhere, probably the attic rather than the basement, so that could be quite fun, getting up a ladder. Not done that recently. Will have a bash though. I do have more things written down, however, I honestly can't read my own handwriting, not going to lie. But yes, Darcy, Cameron, StitchManDarcy, thank you so much. You are absolutely awesome. Please continue to drop the F-bombs that I currently can't. You make me laugh, you cheer me up watching your videos. So yes, please continue, and thank you for being my inspiration. Okay, so a tiny bit more about me, but more in terms of my sort of stitching journey and life. Yorkshire born and bred, tiny bit of an accent, try to the best I can to not drop completely into full-on broad Yorkshire, but what can I say? But yeah, so my mum taught me how to do stitching and crafty things from what I remember, which isn't much at all. I think I started off with long stitch, and then I did a bit of embroidery, and then for whatever reason settled with cross stitch. I think it's because it's like a jigsaw puzzle. I used to love jigsaws, but I didn't really find them challenging. So, you know, there's all these like massive puzzles. Everyone's like, oh, it's 1,000 pieces. Oh, it's like 3,000 pieces. No, not interested in those. So yeah, I think it's the idea of being sort of creative and putting the pieces of a puzzle together, but then actually coming out with something at the end of it. And the cat's snoring again, so just give me 2 seconds again to just stop him. I think we're good. Right, so yeah, I don't remember very much of how I started, but I know my mum taught me, and yeah, that was the sort of path and the journey I took. My memory's pretty weird, like I say, it's non-existent, but I have like an occasional flash. Not like that, filthy beast. But yeah, if I have sort of a flash of something, I try and back it up with a photograph or some kind of evidence or something, because I don't quite believe myself because so little exists. So yeah, I stopped stitching for a very, very long time. Don't remember why. It was definitely well over a decade. I was talking to just about showing my age then, but I've already told you I'm 38, so there we go. I can't quite remember how it came up, go figure, memory. But I think I was talking with my creative director when we first got together, and he thought it was kind of a cool hobby, and I wanted to do something nice for him anyway, sort of like a little gift. So I think that led to my cross-stitch renaissance. I learned that patterns had come on a lot. There were lots of interesting things and things I actually wanted to stitch, and not, you know, to generalise. I am going to generalise. I'm going to just completely sweep old school patterns, but not really into flowers. I certainly can't grow them. But yeah, scenes of cats or dogs or cottagers, and you know, wasn't really my thing to stitch, but you know, there wasn't much available. So yeah, these days, wow, how much has changed, so much of a difference. So yeah, there's actually things I want to stitch now. I'll bang on a bit more about my stitchcraft journey once I've actually got a bit more evidence and possible photos, which you can view at your own risk, because I had a terrible bout of fugly child syndrome when I was a kid. Many years of fugly child syndrome. And I'll quiz my mum for some facts as well. And like I say, I'll probably go raiding the attic at some point. Not sure how that's going to go. But yeah, I'll try and find some of my original pieces. I've mentioned that I've only just discovered FlossTube fairly recently. I have got a playlist going on. Some people who I follow from Instagram, some who Darcy have done shout outs for, but if you think there's anyone who I get along with watching or following, just let me know. Keywords are snarky, fantasy, gaming, geek, anything sort of like that. Not averse at all to more traditional projects. There are some absolutely amazing stitches out there and amazing products which aren't my cup of tea, but they are absolutely outstanding. So if, yeah, basically cool stuff that's good to watch. So speaking of cool stuff, we'll get on to my whips next. Interesting fact about the word whips, my husband JC absolutely hates it. It really annoys him for some reason. So what I'm going to do is make sure that when he's in earshot, I say whips as much as possible. Might even do a Stewie from Family Guy and start like sticking the H in there, like whips. So he might start twitching at that point and or volleying things across the office at me. But yeah, so let me give me 2 seconds. I'm going to get all my stuff together and then we'll have a look at some of my current works in progress or whips. Okay, so just a bit of a background. The kind of patterns that appeal to me and then I'm going to stitch, or at least attempt to stitch, are, well, I guess they more lean towards fantasy. So I love anything to do with like dragons, very specific types of dragons, so not just every dragon, some don't make the cut for me. I love dinosaur patterns. I know they're not fantasy, dinosaurs were real. Anything gaming, like horror and TV shows I'm interested in, so I sort of lean towards that kind of pattern and stitching. I have tried other things, I will do other things. If I see something that appeals to me, I'm not going to not be interested in it just because it's not one of my genres that I normally stick to. But yeah, just in general, that's the kind of thing I lean towards. So my first whip that I'm going to show you is my This Is Fine. So this is a pattern of a meme that's been circulating for a few years now, and it's sort of become our office motto. So the pattern is actually called Dog on Fire, and it's by Moto Ruxin, and it used to be a free pattern, but it's now available via their Patreon. So This Is Fine, Dog on Fire is, I've worked this out, 18,810 stitches, and it will be double panelled, so we'll have another panel over this side. I'm doing it on 18 count Ada, and I'm doing it 2/1. I'm also going to start picking out some of the fuzz that's appeared on here since I put it down in the office and a cat's walked over it. So this is the second time I've actually done this pattern, so I do have a finished one to show you. It was supposed to be a tiny bit super secret, mainly because I think the recipients completely forgotten about me saying that I'd do it for them. So Mr. Dragon, if you are watching, this is for you. I've already sort of rambled on enough about random things, but I'll tell you the story of Mr. Dragon next time. It's a funny story, short story, but funny. So yeah, this is probably, how much are you? You are probably 12 hours in, maybe, to that, while watching rubbish TV and getting distracted and having to let the dog out and having to feed the cats, you know, so not constant stitching. It's been going on for a few weeks now, again, on and off. I don't spend all of my free time stitching. I've got 2 time stuck hobbies, so it's really hard to balance between gaming and stitching and the projects that I want to do. So 2 weeks progress, what can I do with this? I would like to either chop and change with my techniques. On the first one, I actually did both the black and white panels first and then did all the filling in. The mistake I made with the filling in was I left all the white until last and nearly drove myself potty with it. So I tried not to do that this time. So I think I'm going to make my 2 week target to get the black filled in and the black outline on this side, and maybe do a little bit more colouring in over here, but I'm not going to sort of challenge myself to finish all the filling and do the black as well, because I know that's not going to happen. Completely unrealistic for me. I do normally set myself unrealistic targets, so I was quite impressed that those words came out of my mouth. If I can manage to get any more done, then brilliant, I will do. But yeah, so fingers crossed, by next time you will see the beginning of the pattern over here. I stitch in hand, by the way, so I don't use a hoop or a frame or anything. I'm alright with my tension, I think. I don't want to give you a close-up because it's still got bits of fuzz all over it. But yeah, with my fibro, I find it really hard to grip a hoop. It can get quite painful very quickly, so I found the easiest thing for me is to stitch in hand. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out on some of the massive Heaven and Earth design projects that I've got planned and lined up. So yeah, we're just going to have to see there. I have not tried Q-snap frames before, and I'm thinking they might be okay because they're a bit bigger than like sort of the width of a hoop, so maybe that's something I'll try in the future. But yeah, for the minute I'll stitch in hand. Right, project number 2. Okay, so project number 2, my current whip, it's kind of technically now a restart. So this pattern is a demo dog, and I'm just picking the bits off it here. Yeah, I got to sort of that point with it, and I'll get the lovely technical director to pop it up on the screen, the actual what it should look like. Actually, that was upside down. The issue with this one and why it's a restart is I've got a sort of a thing with like a tactile thing occasionally. Some stuff just feels weird all the time. I don't like how it feels. But this fabric, I was stitching on it, and I don't know if you can hear it, it's sort of like, it sounds really rough and plasticky, and I don't like to wash the fabric before I've actually done the stitching and finished it off, because I like the way the washing sort of fluffs up the stitches. So I was using this fabric and it's too rough for me, and as I was pulling the stitches through, it was really tearing at the floss. So this is 18 count and I was doing 2 over 1 again. You will see a theme. I do like 18 count, but I am going smaller count for other patterns. So yeah, as I was sort of pulling through, I was getting a lot of thread that was really getting sort of ripped up and torn and really fluffy. So that took me twice the amount of time that it should have done, because I was constantly having to like reseat the threads or pull bits of fluff out, and it wasn't sitting nicely at all. So I've now got some more 18 count HAED, different stuff, different company, and I'm going to do a restart on this, and I can cope with the fabric a lot better just by feeling it. I know I can cope with it, and hopefully it is softer so it won't actually pull at the threads in the same way. So yeah, we're doing a restart on Demo Dog. I don't have the stitch count for him. I've got that I don't know why he's a he, no idea. I will also give him a name at some point. But yeah, so Demo Dog is 126 stitches high by 72 stitches wide, and this is a pattern by White Raven Patterns. They are on Etsy, and I don't think this pattern is up anymore. I did look for it and I couldn't find it, but they've got lots of other fantastic patterns. So yeah, White Raven Patterns, Damn Dog is going to be a restart. It shouldn't be that difficult to complete, she says confidently. I think if I put my mind to it, I possibly could get at least halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, finish it. This is my unrealistic me and expectations coming in now. I don't stitch as quickly as I used to do, and I still sort of hold myself to that same kind of stitching standard of quickness, so not sure. Watch this space. Restart. So the third whip that I've got going along is technically not started yet. However, it will be. I'm sort of 2 weeks behind already on a stitch along. I am an amazing procrastinator, and that combined with the fibro and the just want to do everything, so the gaming pull with the hobbies as well as the other cross stitch projects just means I've just completely lost my way with it. So I'll, again, creative director can put this up on the screen for me. Just I'm flagging now, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I'm taking part in the Pick Stitch Gamer Stitch Along, which is going to be the word gamer, and it's filled in with all cool gaming characters. It looks like it's going to be absolutely amazing, and I have completely got it kitted up. I'm indecisive about the fabric. I've got two different things. Well, I did order some more fabric. I was going to do it on a white background to start off with, and then the white wasn't as white as what I thought it should be. So I ordered some more white, and then I thought, well, why just stick with white? Why don't go coloured? So I've got some grey Zweigart Marble 28 count Brittany Cotton even weave, and that's a really nice grey. But then when I found that, I also found, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick this up to its like true glory, some, and there we go, you can sort of see it's white, but it's got a sort of a reflective fleck through it. And that is, if you excuse me rattling the packages, that's Zweigart again. It's white Ada, silver flecked, 18 count, half metre. So that's absolutely plenty, and I can use that for other projects. Now, when I saw this, I thought originally it was possibly, well, I didn't think it was going to be as sparkly as what it was. Not a sparkles person. However, the reason I liked the flecking in it is that I thought it'd kind of be like an old school. So the pattern is, well, it's like this old Sega logo, so I thought it'd be quite cool if it was on like a flecked background and it sort of looked like an old TV screen when you switched it on. It's sort of like the static on the screen. So I think I'm probably going to go with the sparkles and hope for the best. Watch this space. Might end up getting unpicked and might end up on the grey. Might end up on white, who knows. But yeah, I need to pull my finger out and catch up with this stitch along, because I am really not wanting to get behind in it, and I really, really do want to start it. So those are my current whips and want to start. I have also got more planned projects. Like I said, I've got an absolute boatload of patterns, so many patterns. I'm not going to live long enough to complete all the games I want to complete and go through my back catalogue and also stitch all the patterns I have. It just will not be possible. However, the planned projects, which I'll talk about properly next time, I've got the cursed one, which is one that was just like doomed from the start when the, well, I'll go into more detail next time, but yeah, I couldn't get the fabric, I couldn't get the right colours, and there was an issue with the pattern itself, and it's just like, oh, so I really, really was revved up to start it. Just false starts all the way along. So it's all kitted up ready in my lovely DMC bag that's covered in dog hair, and I've got all of my stitch bows, and it's a heaven and earth design, which is why there's about £89, I think, this one. Or it might be 100 plus. I'll get the pattern details next time. But yeah, so that one's all kitted up and ready. So that's the cursed one. So I've also got the one with negative vibes. Now this is a whip, and it's a long story, but it's one that I'm not quite sure I can finish or bring myself to pick back up again. But I really, really ought to, because it is important that I do. So yeah, so we're doing Friends episodes. We've got the cursed one, and then we've got the one with negative vibes. The two other things that are planned that I'm really looking forward to and totally going to do are 2 Stitchalongs. So I've got I'm in the group for the Shining Stitchalong, and it's in a Facebook group, so I'll pop the details in the comments. And also the Jurrasic Park Stitchalong. Love dinosaurs. Saw a Jurassic Park Stitchalong. It was never not going to happen. So I'm in 2 Facebook groups for those when they actually start off. If for whatever reason, just staring at the whips now, thinking, God, you're not going to get any of those done, like you've said you're going to. Yeah, so if for any reason I've got a break in between these 2 patterns, finishing them off and one of the Stitchalongs starting, or I haven't really got anything else to work on, that's a lie, I've got loads to work on, but I haven't got anything kitted up, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I really ought to have like one big pattern. So the cursed one is a Heaven and Earth design, full coverage, quite large, so that'll, you know, that's a slow burner. So I really ought to have like gratification small projects, but that's sort of not the way I roll. I tend to sort of, well, I used to be a monogamous stitcher, so it's really hard for me to sort of get into the mindset of just dipping in and out to lots of other things. I mean, I can see the benefits of it and I love the idea of it, just it makes me a bit twitchy is all. Don't know why, not a clue. But yeah, so that's going to be the stitching lineup for the minute, and the things I'm going to be working on and the things I'll be working on eventually. So yeah, let's see how much I get done.